Well, good evening, everybody. We want to welcome you tonight to Business Breakthrough. And tonight we are going to be doing a very special event that we do on the third Monday of every month. And that is where we have somebody present a business opportunity. Now, the whole idea of Business Breakthrough is to help you, to position you that you can bring into the kingdom of God the wealth of the wicked. Amen. And I've been doing this, business breakthrough meetings. I think this will probably make 28 years. I'm not exactly sure the day we started, but I think it was around 1990 or 91. We actually started this ministry. But the idea to Business Breakthrough is to help you to operate your business in the realm of the supernatural. And so to do that, once a month we do a teaching meeting, and that was last Tuesday night. And if you miss that, if you're a guest here tonight and you miss that, that is what I consider to be the most important meeting of the month. And that's where we talk about how to operate your business in the supernatural. Then what we do is when we finish the meeting, we go to a form page and we fill in what I call a 4-part form, but being it's online, it's not actually a 4-part form, but we make 4 copies of it. And what happens is my ministry gets 1 copy of the form, and we can pray for you for your short-term, mid-range objectives and long-range objectives. But then most importantly, we connect you to 2 other business people. So that process started last week, going to go for the next 3 weeks. And then on the second Monday of September, we'll be doing that again. So if you missed last week, you can go to Business Breakthrough Ministry page on Dave Martin Ministries website. And there you can see the first meeting of the month. And all 3 of us, the same 3 people that are here tonight, were on the first webinar of the month. And let me just introduce real quickly to you here before I get too far carried away. But right in the center of your screen is our guest presenter tonight. That's Dr. David Asher. And say hi, David.
Hi, hello, welcome.
David is actually my personal doctor. He started treating me when I had a head-on car collision 11 years ago, and has become a personal friend and continually keeps me in shape with a little adjustment here and there. And his medical practice is phenomenal. And I won't put too much time into this, but I'm telling you, I've never seen anybody in my whole life that is so in tune to the spirit and to the body, where he can literally put his hands on your neck and your head, your back, whatever, and he listens to the body talk, and he knows what's going on in your body. That's pretty impressive to me. Anyway, he's been my doctor. He's going to be sharing with us tonight. I think it was September, David, or October.
Yes.
He introduced this product to me because I've been dealing with issues from the head-on car collision. My foot was crushed, back was banged up, my neck, my shoulder was just a mess from the head-on collision. So I'm still dealing with some level of treatment, and he introduced me to this product that really helped me a lot. And I'm taking it every day, matter of fact, twice a day, and as well as some other products that they have that he'll mention to you, because I had a hard time sleeping. I kept waking up, and with this product, I'm sleeping like a baby, waking up refreshed, so I'm a happy camper. But anyway, he's going to give us that presentation tonight, and I like to promote things I believe in, and having a business marketing sales background, if I was going to recommend a company, it's going to be a product that is going to be hot, something that is trending, and something that you can make a lot of money in. So I believe this is that. So this is our very first full month in this Business Breakthrough concept. Of the first Monday of the month, we do an introduction, and again, that video is on that video is on the Business Breakthrough Ministry page. And to give you an idea of what this is all about, I guarantee you, if you are in business, this ministry will escalate your business to a higher level because God gets involved. Now, I was so excited the first night. I had Raquel share our first night of the Business Breakthrough, because she has been in the Business Breakthrough ministry for years, drove 2 hours once a month to a Business Breakthrough meeting to come and be part of it. And I was so impressed with her ability, her stage presence, I guess you call it, screen presence here. And so Raquel, welcome. And I asked Raquel, because she did such a good job at this, to be a co-host with me. So you're going to see her more and more. And I'm just really excited. But Raquel, just in 2 minutes or less, what did Business Breakthrough do for you?
Well, I just wanted to bring you a recent breakthrough in my business that happened. A couple things already. One, I got matched up with amazing women who are praying for me, and I can feel the prayers for me. And it kind of really shifted me into a different headspace, which I needed. And because of that, I ended up connecting with somebody from London who looks like she's already interested in the business that I do. So we're having more conversations with that. And I was talking about synchronicities, and that's just God working. So she's like, it's funny you would say that. And I'm like, yes, as Grace would have it, you sat right in front of me for lunch. So we had a lovely conversation. And then the bigger thing that happened besides that was last week. The guy had been telling me to go to this event that was happening in Washington, D.C., and I'm a single mom. So I was like, okay, you've got male Jesus, and I'm always hashtagging Jesus is my boo, like he takes care of me financially. So literally in the last minute, he was just telling me, you need to go. And this is business related. And I just felt like I needed to get out of town to get what you need, to get what I needed. And so literally like at 8 p.m. Wednesday, money came in. So I was able to book the flight, book the place, get the tickets. And everything was it was an amazing weekend, 4 days in Washington. And I wanted to share that specifically because sometimes we want things, but we're not willing to be there live. We're not willing to just create that space. And I want to encourage you, even though we do have the replays, try to be here live, because there's something about the first fruits. This is part of the first fruit anointing, that when you show up, then you can ask questions, you can get engaged, and not that you don't get some of those things in replay. But coming live does something for your faith. It does something to activate you. It does something so you can come in community, and you don't get that in the replay. So I just wanted to encourage you. I had to leave town because of my crazy schedule, because even though I could have watched the replay or watched it remotely live, God's like, you need to be in that atmosphere because I have something for you that you can't get in a replay. And so I want to encourage you to be here live, bring your friends, because there are things that are going to happen for you live as a first fruit, as a gift from God, because you decided to honor him by just creating that space to be in his presence. Amen. So that's my plug.
That was the best 2-minute plug I've heard. Thank you, Raquel. Now,
You're
hey, tonight, we're going to turn Dr. Asher loose here in just a minute. But there is a chat window on your screen there. And as Dr. Asher is going through his presentation, if you have any questions relative to the product or to the company or to the business opportunity, put them in the chat there. And somewhere around 8:30, 22, Raquel, let's say 8:30. Let me know how many questions that we have. I want to watch the chat around 8:30 and check it to see how many questions. And so, Raquel, just say there's like 5 questions, 10 questions, whatever. And then I'll make that announcement to Dr. Asher. Or actually, you know what? You got your microphone there. You can just say it around 8:30, 8:35. You can just say, Dr. Asher, we got about 5 questions or 10 questions, whatever the case may be. So that way he'll know how much time to allow for questions. And if we have a lot of questions, then we'll go over a little bit. And if you need to leave before we're done with all the questions, we can do that as well. But I do want to give Dr. Asher a good 45 minutes to just talk about the company and the product and the opportunity that he's bringing to us tonight. So just again, real close, a review. First Monday of every month is introduction. and we'll have different people give testimonies and just have a really good time, kind of giving an idea how to get God more involved in your business. And then the second Monday of every month, the most important meeting, that's where we're going to teach a concept. And in September, I'm going to be teaching specifically about the reality of you are anointed to make money at a level the world's not familiar. I'm going to be sharing a testimony of Rodney Howard Clark, who was a nobody, but got a concept of this, I'm anointed to play basketball. And he although he was only he was short, he couldn't jump, and from a small school, because he got this revelation, he was anointed to play basketball at a level the world was not familiar. By getting that in his heart, saying it every day, every time he touched the basketball, by the time he finished high school, small town here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Verdigris, Oklahoma, he had scholarships to every college in America. Now, Chip Wren, who coached him, took that same concept to business, to theater, to other areas of sports, and just miracle testimony after miracle testimony. So, but the idea is, one, you have to know you're anointed. Number two, you have to believe it, confess it, call those things that be not as though they are, bring them into a reality, and then most importantly, know why you're doing it, for the glory of God. So that's kind of a coming attraction. That's going to be our lesson the second Monday night in September. And then the third Monday night, we're going to be having another company that I think a lot of. I started working with them in 2008. It's a company, Geo Wellness, and they make products to protect you from radiation. And that's a major concern. So that's a real hot company too, totally different than what we're going to see tonight. And then the fourth Monday of every month is where we have somebody come in and train us in how to be better business people, how to be better in different areas of management, sales, marketing. And next Monday night, we have one of the very best in the country, David Curran. He is with the Sandler Training Group. I think they're the number one training company in America. They bought out Zig Ziglar Group. And he's going to be with us next Monday night doing a training about goals and dreams and visions. So that's going to be next Monday night. Okay, so much for the small talk, getting started here. So let me introduce to you in full screen here, Dr. David Asher, my friend. It's all yours, sir.
All right, well, thank you, David. Well, I'm going to simply start by saying thank you for allowing me this opportunity to be a part of this Business Breakthrough webinar. It is fun for me to represent this product and to represent you and support your ministry in this way. So I wanted to just introduce myself. My name is David Asher. I'm an osteopathic physician of 38 years. I've been in practice in Tulsa for the last 35 years now. And my practice began as pain management only 25 years ago. I did family practice, or what you might just call general practice. I was a family doctor for 12 years, and then liking what I could do as an osteopathic physician, began to limit my practice to the point that I shortly only accepted new patients for musculoskeletal pain management. So through the years, I've had plenty of opportunity to encounter patients in chronic pain for various reasons, and was looking for things that besides medications, besides injections, besides physical therapy methods could be helpful, that were natural, cost-effective, and met a wide host of needs without being interfering with normal, say, kidney function or brain function. So largely to avoid non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs and opioids, which I still have a few patients that use opioids, and that's necessary. But what else is there out there? Well, I learned last September of this hemp oil product called Zalease Ultracell. So I'm using that very eagerly in my practice. I love what it does. It's safe and effective, and the beginning of a new part of my business starts with Zalease Ultracell. So I wanted to let you know a bit about this company. It is a network marketing company. It is probably the best business model for rapid beginnings and for long-term residual income. And I am 66 years old in my practice, now starting something that is in such a trend and in such a such an effective product that I can't let this opportunity pass up at this time. So the company was started by the gentleman in the picture. You see Stephen Thompson, his wife Angie, in 2015. Stephen was involved in another company as the vice president of international development and was traveling the world literally, and at one point landed in Haiti, Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and saw the malnutrition, malnourishment in children, and felt that his company, the company that he was representing at that time, could do something about that with their profits. He and the other gentleman in the picture, Dr. Derek De Silva, who was also working with Stephen in his former company, agreed that it was a good idea. So they took that concept of providing profits from their existing company to the company president and asked him if they could begin to support children through a specific kind of nutritional product in Haiti, and the company president was not so inclined. Well, Stephen said it was a good idea, so he, within 30 days, severed ties with that company, as did Dr. De Silva, and they began Zalis. Zalis is Swahili for multiplying nutrition. Their intention was to provide profits from their company to provide nutritional support for children. Dr. De Silva had at that time already developed a very ingenious technology that married liposomes and micelles to allow the absorption of oils as a water-soluble product. So they used that product to help nutritionally, and it took them 11 months to get on board. The country of Haiti was slow to allow another person provide free anything, and while they did finally get in to provide the nutrition, it was a slow process. They didn't want to have to repeat. I'll reference that later. So that company started January 1st, 2015. Stephen was a top 40 mentor within network marketing at that time. The company, you see 700% growth there. That slide is now dated. The way the company is tracking this year, only this year, they will demonstrate 2,000% growth. It's a phenomenal company, excellent leadership, and I'm very excited to represent them, primarily because they started out with a philanthropic basis, and they continue to provide support for their primary cause. They started out simply as a company that wanted to provide world-class products, and Dr. De Silva vetted all of these products. Really, they recruited people, and what began as kind of an Amazon of health and wellness really broke wide open in March of 2017 when they started this Zen product that is simply a suntan lotion. You spray on, it causes suntan, and they also started this 7 hemp oil. At that time, those were just innocent additions to a world-class group of products, but with the hemp oil, the company's growth exploded. Now, the company began selling a full spectrum hemp oil, and at this time, perhaps 98% of all sales from the Zalis company are in the hemp oil category. So it's a huge increase. So part of our presentation is to instruct you, teach you about the science of the endocannabinoid system. So our next several minutes will be involved with understanding of what it is that we're trying to help in the body and the product that is going to do that so well. So the endocannabinoid system was only discovered in the early 90s. It represents a medical breakthrough in that it changes the way we practice medicine. The endocannabinoid system literally affects every portion of the body. You see the major organ systems that are listed there. Every organ system has its own endocannabinoid relationship with itself. Each organ has the ability to monitor and manage its own function. So the job of the endocannabinoid system is to bring that organ into homeostasis or balance, and we have what are called endocannabinoids. Endocannabinoid is simply an endogenous cannabinoid, and if you think cannabinoid sounds like cannabis, it's because it is. And so I want to be real clear right up front. We're not talking about marijuana. We're talking about hemp. The difference between hemp and marijuana is very simple to explain. They are both cannabis, whether it's cannabis sativa or cannabis indicus. This particular company uses cannabis sativa. The way cannabis is grown, if you allow the plant to pollinate, it turns into hemp and grows tall with all the fiber and the multiple industrial uses that we're so excited about. If you do not allow the plant to pollinate, in other words, you extract or remove all the male plants as soon as they represent themselves as male plants, if you do not allow the plant to pollinate, then you can get increasing amounts of tetrahydrocannabinol or THC in the plant. That's what marijuana is. And the legal distinction between hemp and marijuana is, in fact, its percent dry weight of THC. Marijuana has more than 0.3% THC, and hemp has less than 0.3% THC. So the endocannabinoid system in the body is the largest signaling system. So every cell, every organ has endocannabinoid receptors on it. When the body is in stress or distress, the number of endocannabinoid receptors increase, as if the body is saying, I need more endocannabinoid support. So within our own body, our own endogenous endocannabinoids are made up of anandamide and 2-AG. Anandamide is Sanskrit for bliss, and it's now known that anandamide is the feel-good runner's high chemical associated with long-distance runners. It is also in chocolate, and one of the reasons we feel good when we eat chocolate is we have taken anandamide. Anandamide works primarily in the central nervous system and through CB1 receptors and CB2 receptors in the periphery. So every organ system, the brain, think of the feel-good chemical, and in the periphery, all organs, especially the immune system and bone and other organ systems, which we'll discuss. The anandamide is metabolized at the cell, and one of the reasons acetaminophen or Tylenol products and non-steroidal anti-inflammatories work is they block the breakdown of anandamide. So if you block its breakdown, you increase its presence, it means you're going to feel better. 2-AG is another one of our own endocannabinoid, and there are 1,000 times as many 2-AGs in the body as there are the feel-good chemicals. So this is really what I call the workhorse portion of the endocannabinoid system. So the anandamide works to help us feel better and help some organ functions. The 2-AG molecule is really having to do with function. So injury repair, think of a person who's had a brain trauma, like a stroke or traumatic brain injury. It is the 2-AG molecule, when present in adequate amounts, that prevents the excessive damage, inflammation to occur in the brain. So people have, the more support they have for brain function or any organ function where the cannabinoid receptor need is greater, and therefore the endocannabinoid need is greater, the more benefit is obtained from having 2-AG, or we'll see soon its phytocannabinoid correlate, CBD, present. Also, 2-AG works in bone, and bone is necessary to have activation of CB2 receptors by 2-AG in bone for bone formation. So think in terms of osteoporosis. Without adequate CB2 activation in bone, men and women develop weak bones. So again, activation or meeting a nutritional need with this endocannabinoid is important for bone health. Vasodilation, immune cell augmentation. We'll go through a few more of those. These are just the endocannabinoids. This is what we have endogenously. These are our own. This is the way we're made. So we want to keep our system working as well as it can. There are many other compounds in the body that are considered endocannabinoids, but these are the two that have gotten the most attention and therefore the most research. So I asked the question, is we have this wonderful endocannabinoid system whose job is to keep us in balance and balance organ function. Why are those organs not functioning correctly? Why have we in fact developed multiple medications to address organ system dysfunction? Well, just like any organ, the endocannabinoid receptors also begin to fail, and we end up with what has been called the endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome. We'll talk about that quite a bit more in a few minutes, but organ system dysfunction, think of any organ system out of balance, think of hyper this or hypo that, too much blood pressure, brain function with anxiety is too much brain activity in that regard, or too little, what might produce depression or cognitive impairment. But when you have an organ that's not functioning optimally, we consider that an out of balance organ, and we end up taking medication over time. The pharmaceutical companies have been very thankful to have been able to produce medication to meet a presumed need, when oftentimes endocannabinoid deficiency is the answer, and the organ system dysfunction could be treated successfully with further endocannabinoid support. So if our goal is optimal health, and I as a physician want to promote optimal health, I'm not in the business to treat disease, I'm in the business to promote health. Our job is to achieve optimal health, and when health is present, disease is not. So please do consider that you can be well, but you don't do that by taking drugs to suppress dysfunctional organ system function. So our greatest donor to health, I'm going to suggest, is the endocannabinoid system. If our nutritional support for that system is inadequate, we end up ill. And you have to ask yourself, where is your health right now? And for you, what does better look like? If it means taking a medication to address that, then fine, that at least you're addressing the symptom. But could you take a different path and address health through multiple different avenues and come up with a different answer? And I want to suggest that that's possible. So certainly improving lifestyle and your diet is important. And I have often said, you know what to do. I've actually found people that don't know what to do. If you allow me to be bacon wrapped Hostess Twinkies, probably not optimal for your health, but if that's okay with you, consider something different, okay? Target deficiencies, nutritional support. You get a good diet going for you, and you add nutritional support to that, you can promote wellness. And since the endocannabinoid system modulates organ function, that's a natural place to start when we're considering improving organ function. And that's where endocannabinoids take a little help from plant or phytocannabinoids as full spectrum hemp oil. So we could talk about CBD. I do want to make the point that when we are talking about CBD, it is a single component part of hemp. You see on this pie chart, there are several cannabinoids that are represented. CBD down at the bottom, we'll talk about that one more, but there are actually dozens, I would say over 100 different cannabinoids that come together, much as the many keys on a piano are necessary to address all the musical needs that one might have in a piano concert, or the more than one instrument in an orchestra. So it is that CBD does not stand alone, and CBD extract preparations and CBD enriched preparations other than that which is a full spectrum balanced hemp preparation, they do not represent the best measure of health or provide the best, represent the best product. So you can see very in small print that CBD, or cannabidiol, is the cannabinoid that we're talking about. It is antibacterial. It does inhibit cancer cell growth. All of these things in that column are represented with scientific studies. You can go to pubmed.gov, pubmed.gov, and look for CBD studies. There are thousands and thousands of studies on CBD, and this pie chart has simply been developed from pubmed.gov articles, basic science articles. Antibacterial, inhibits cancer growth, neuroprotective, I mentioned earlier, and brain trauma or stroke injury, promotes bone growth. We mentioned about CB2 activation with 2AG. Well, CBD is the phytocannabinoid correlate to our endocannabinoid 2AG. So if you have a deficiency in, or you have a representation of deficiency as a particular symptom, disease, or condition, and you add CBD where 2AG would normally fit, then you can address those conditions at a cellular level. So we're talking promoting the health of an organ as opposed to suppressing or augmenting or enhancing the function of an organ. Lowers blood sugar levels, has been used in reducing seizures. That may be where you know primarily about CBD. Certainly that is how CBD has gotten its name, is in treating seizures, refractory seizure disorders, and it has been very successful. It reduces the function of the immune system. You might say, well, why is that ever a good thing, to reduce function of the immune system? If you consider that some immune system dysfunctions, when something is revved up, turned on, overactive, like an autoimmune disorder or a liver hepatitis, if you consider that you could reduce the immune system function and perhaps save an organ from an over-aggressive inflammatory response, you can see where CBD would fit. And that is exactly what it does. It is an amazing adjunct in people who have autoimmune disorders and decreasing inflammation. Reduces the risk of arterial blockage, small bowel contractions. I have one lady in my practice who I gave it to her for her joint pain, and she says, oh yeah, I take it for the joint pain, but I continue to take it because it reduces my irritable bowel. In other words, irritable bowel syndrome, is that an endocannabinoid deficiency? Can you meet that with a phytocannabinoid full spectrum hemp? It's certainly worth trying. Reduces pain, and it has been said that the analgesic effect of hemp oil or of CBD is hundreds of times as much. We know there are 10 times as many cannabinoid receptors in the brain as there are opioid receptors. So when in the area of the brain where pain is managed, cannabinoids work better than opioids. It has also been said that as an anti-inflammatory, CBD is hundreds of times as potent as aspirin. So it's an amazing supplement. We're very happy to be able to offer it, not as a single CBD isolate, but as a full spectrum product. So I wanted to say a word about deficiencies, because we're not trying to promote a supplement to treat disease. We're simply trying to treat deficiency. A word about a different deficiency. Have you ever had a leg cramp, a Charlie horse? It's been shown that leg cramps, night cramps, are most often, perhaps 90+% of the time, representative of magnesium deficiency. So if you had a magnesium deficiency that resulted in leg cramps and you supplemented magnesium and your leg cramps went away, did you treat leg cramps as a disease, or did you treat it as a system dysfunction? And I'm submitting to you that in this same way, as a nutritional deficiency of CBD or other CBD or other cannabinoid products simply treat deficiencies, and symptom dysfunctions associated with those deficiencies go away. So this slide, I believe, is important to understand. So let's just camp out here for a minute When we talk about phytocannabinoids, we are talking about hemp and not marijuana. We're talking about a full spectrum product, and we're talking about all of the component parts of the hemp plant. The endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome has been described by conditions that you see on this slide. So let's consider hemp simply addressing deficiency, a deficiency that expresses itself in your body as a treatment-resistant condition. In that first column, a treatment-resistant condition is migraine. Do we ever cure people of migraine? Maybe with diet, maybe there are other ways, but if you look at the primary medication approach with migraine headache, it's abortive. We treat it, we try to get rid of it as opposed to prevent it. Well, I will simply say that migraine headache is very commonly an endocannabinoid deficiency. Seizure disorders, fibromyalgia, depression, panic, anxiety disorders, neuropathy, insomnia, and gut issues, they all represent conditions that are relatively difficult to treat. And if you ask physicians about what's their best approach for fibromyalgia, they've got a laundry list of medications, and they're mostly suppressive of the nervous system. I can share good news that my sister-in-law had fibromyalgia for 20 years, and in 2 months was able to get off all of her medication and get her life back. It's very, very encouraging to see that. Depression and anxiety. So in the middle column, could that hemp deficiency simply express itself as inflammation? All of these conditions in the middle column are representative of high levels of inflammation. So a nervous system condition called multiple sclerosis, irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disorders known as colitis or Crohn's disease. You see there are autoimmune disorders, rheumatoid arthritis, or other autoimmune disorders that you may know, lupus, Sjogren's syndrome, liver injury, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, are all conditions associated with high levels of inflammation, and reducing an inflammatory response will improve conditions caused by excessive inflammation. This is science. This is not conjecture. This is not sales. This is science. And I'm very happy to say that we have a product that addresses these very well. So could a symptom be related to endocannabinoid deficiency? Yes, we know that nausea, nicotine, and other drug addictions, sometimes just the symptom of pain is responsive to endocannabinoids or phytocannabinoids as hemp. Post-traumatic stress disorder is an anxiety-like disorder, very difficult for a nervous system pathway to turn itself off, and hemp is good at helping break a loop of psychologic activity that is unresponsive to medication. Obsessive compulsive disorder or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, osteopenia, and different psychoses all are expressions of hemp, or I should say endocannabinoid deficiencies. So this statement is the obligatory disclaimer that one must make when discussing nutritional products. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. So that being said, we're going to move along and say that full spectrum hemp oil has these component parts. There are actually over 400 component parts, close to 500 parts. And that's why it is so important to obtain the full entourage synergism of the whole hemp plant and not just look to a single CBD isolate to do the job. There are dozens of cannabinoids, approximately 4 to 5% in hemp of the dry weight of the plant is CBD or cannabidiol, but there are terpenes, oils that give fragrance. You are familiar with essential oils. Essential oils are largely terpenes. They're the fragrant portion of the plant, often of the flower. In hemp, unfortunately, the fragrance or the odor, the terpene aromatic component chimes in somewhere between skunk and wet dog. So we are happy that we can flavor, yes, thank you. It can flavor it in a way that makes it very palatable. Flavonoids are anti-inflammatories. You see there are a number of other component parts, minerals, vitamins, proteins, amino acids. It is a synergism of component parts, and they're safe at multiples of concentration. So we find that this product is exceptionally balanced. Some people have called it God's vitamin. Another person called it Jesus in a bottle. What it does for people is amazing. So let's continue. All of the medical benefits, and hear me clearly on this, all the medical benefits that are available in cannabis are present in the properly processed full spectrum hemp and without THC side effects. I'll show you this slide briefly, and hopefully I don't lose you on this. This slide does, in fact, show a plant grown as marijuana. If they grow with the intention of having high levels of THC, somewhere out here over 30%, you can see that the CBD side of the equation is very small. So high levels of THC, or tetrahydrocannabinol, the psychoactive component of marijuana, have very low levels of CBD. Conversely, a marijuana plant can be grown genetically, choosing to use high CBD dominant strains. Those high CBD dominant strains may have as little as 2-3% of THC, making a high CBD marijuana plant very helpful medically speaking. And there's also a way to grow the plant genetically that has a mix. So my point here is that the emphasis on high levels of THC brings with it low levels of CBD, which is where the medical benefits lie. So there have been some concerns. The hemp is a part of the 2014 Farm Act, and now you may be aware that in Congress the 2018 Farm Bill is being considered, and it will be passed by the end of September. And in that included is the 2018 Hemp Farming Act, which completely removes hemp from any purview of the DEA, and it will no longer be considered medical. So it will become an agricultural commodity, and it has been estimated that when that happens, corn and tobacco will be second and third to hemp as the agricultural crop in the United States.
Wow.
Onward, we said that hemp must be less than 0.3% THC, so it's possible that you could take a drug screen and find cannabinoids in your urine, but you would not find THC if the product had had all the THC removed. But if in your employment, the government or a trucking firm were going to do random drug screens, you need to ask what is the specific component that they're looking for, and if they're looking for cannabinoids, probably looking specifically for THC. If they were looking for cannabinoids, they would find cannabinoids because full spectrum hemp does have dozens of different cannabinoids, but in a product that has 0.3%, it would not trip a screen, though there would be small amounts of it present. So you have to ask, what are they specifically looking for? You're not going to get any psychoactive activity at less than about 3% THC with any hemp product, so it's not going to be there, and we'll talk more about this particular product. There are drug interactions, but only very few. When Epidiolex, which is a seizure drug, a CBD, high CBD extract was introduced and studied, the FDA required that they demonstrate what level of drug interaction there was, and that at 30 milligrams of CBD per day, they began to get interferences with drug metabolism in the liver, but at less than 30 milligrams a day, they did not find any, and in any hemp preparation, there will not be anywhere near 30 milligrams, more like 3 or 4 milligrams, and that we're quite comfortable saying that drug interaction or metabolism interference with CBD containing preparations is very unlikely. Still, that being said, certain life supporting medications, including Coumadin or blood thinners, heart drugs, chemotherapy drugs, seizure drugs, and some antibiotics have a narrow therapeutic window, and if the metabolism of that drug were changed up or down, it could affect the level, and therefore that would need to be considered. So we just ask you to ask your doctor for blood tests if you're going to be on a hemp preparation. So that concludes the science portion. We're going to continue real quickly now, and we're going to work our way through the Zalease opportunity presentation and say that we are talking about a full spectrum hemp oil and not an extract or anything altered. It is cut off at the ground, ground up. It is extracted with CO2 under high pressure. It is a cold preparation. It is not heated. And this preparation provides the full, broad support of the endocannabinoid system without changing the cannabinoids at all. Because they work synergistically, it enables the smaller doses to be used, and it actually saves money because the amount that can be used when you use a full spectrum preparation is less than trying to get, if you will, milk all the benefit out of a single, like CBD product. So this product is Zalease Ultracell, and as of last month, it did become the #1 selling hemp-derived CBD oil in the country. It had been, it's only been in production since November of 2017, so we're talking 9 months of production, and it has unseated the previous CBD product, which had held that #1 position for 8 years. It is USDA certified organic hemp. That's regarding the seed, the soil, the production, and the processing. The hemp is USDA certified organic. That is important because if you obtain hemp from outside the country or from any in any preparation that is not certified as organic, it is, we'll just call it dangerous. Hemp is an aggregator. It pulls up whatever is in the soil, and if there are toxins in the soil, and they actually use it in China and Indonesia, they use hemp to clean the soil. So if it's not organically grown, you may well be getting toxins, pesticides, and that when you take that into your body, then that becomes yours, and we want to be sure that we're not adding health issues. So it is a superior formulation. I mentioned that it is a full spectrum preparation, and it is pet friendly. Dogs, any vertebrate animal has an endocannabinoid system, and anyone can therefore benefit, and it has been unusually effective in dogs with as they age, dogs and cats. So this is an interesting study. I mentioned it. It is water soluble. There are many hemp preparations that may be USDA certified organic, though not many. There are many preparations that are full spectrum, though often they are enriched or in some way not full spectrum. But this is really where the Ultracell preparation leads the pack and establishes it as the gold standard of all preparations. What you see here is a graph derived from a February 2018, just 7 months ago, a study showing absorption. This was done by the Mayo Clinic Professional Research Laboratory. They called Dr. De Silva when they found out he had developed and had marketed a full spectrum hemp oil. They said, we would like to do the research on that. So what you see is rapid absorption, and the maximum absorption shown is 94%. You can see that it averaged somewhere between 80 and 90% absorption, and that it is sustained in the blood plasma for over 12 hours. You can expect it to extend out further. Other preparations that are not this micellized liposome technology may absorb some even up to 30, 40, 50%, but they drop right off. And so this chart, as far as describing, comparing, contrasting it with other preparations, this is by far the most telling feature that sets Ultracell apart.
Dr.
I'm sorry,
Asher,
Doctor.
Sorry. I have 2 questions, and we have 10 minutes left.
Okay, thank you. So we ask people to take the challenge. This company has created a small 1-week preparation. We ask people to set your own goals. Ask yourself, what do you want to be better? What would you like to be better? So you do 1/2 milliliter, which is a dropper, 1/2 of a dropper twice a day. And you do that for 7 consecutive days. And don't do anything different. That way you know what you get is the result of the Zalise Ultracell. 80% of people after a few days begin to appreciate improvement. Because it is water soluble and rapidly absorbed, some people experience benefit within minutes. And I've had people, my secretary in my office said that within 35 minutes she felt her shoulders come down out of her ears. She had very greatly relaxed muscles as a result of using this just within a few minutes. So the preparation, some people are allergic to hemp. Some people have had a lot of exposure to hemp or cannabis in the past and they've developed an allergy. Some people say, I simply don't want to have any cannabis in my system. I'm concerned that there might be some drug test that I would trip and it would cost me my job. So this company has wisely developed 3 symptom-specific boosters. They have a preparation called mimetics, which are other botanicals that address endocannabinoid deficiency. So the Ultra Edge is a non-cannabinoid support preparation taken either 1 or 2 milliliters once or twice a day for cognitive enhancement, cognitive boosting. It also helps with movement disorders. The Ultra Ice preparation has an anti-inflammatory component that is very effective. I will say I jacked my jaw one day, chewed on something incorrectly. My jaw was very, very painful. I couldn't bring my teeth together, hurt to eat, hurt to chew. I took 3 doses of this over about 24 hours, and the pain was gone. My teeth came back together, and I'm very happy about that. The last product that is considered a booster is for Dream, Ultra Dream, and it is to help with sleep. So we have the Ultra Edge, Ultra Ice, and Ultra Dream as non-cannabinoid boosters that are targeted to produce effects that when endocannabinoid system support is needed.
Doc, we're about 53 minutes in, and we have a bunch of questions. Can we go through a couple of them before we end up not having enough time to answer them?
Okay.
Lori wants to know, is CBD topical or you ingest it or both?
This particular preparation is a water-soluble oil that will be best absorbed under the tongue. Some people have put it on their neck. It is an oil, so it will absorb, and can be absorbed like a topical, though it is not designed as a topical.
Great. Kathy wants to know, is it able to assist to balance your pH to counteract something like gout?
Well, again, gout is an inflammatory condition. It has to do with, it's a nutritional problem having to do with the inability of the body to process purines that develop crystals. That has to be addressed from a nutritional perspective. There are some medications that help pull out gout. Yes, it does help inflammation. It does not cure gout.
Michael wants to know, does it help the body become alkalized?
That is, again, has to do with nutrition and intake. The specific function of the endocannabinoid system is not to do with acid-base balance.
Great. Angela has a bunch of questions, really good ones. What is the quality control of the source and production of the plants that are being used?
The plant is grown in Colorado at a USDA certified organic hemp farm, and the processing is through that farm the quality control. I can show the certificate of analysis. If someone would email me, I would be happy to share the certificate of analysis that shows the lack of toxins, pesticides, etc., in the soil.
Awesome. So that answers her next question if it's produced in a lab. It's not. Are there any side effects if a person stops using it?
No.
Do they need to be weaned off it?
So the idea is that if you have an endocannabinoid deficiency and you're meeting that deficiency and you stop meeting that deficiency, would your expression of endocannabinoid deficiency return? And the likelihood is yes.
Are there any side effects if too much is ingested?
It's been said that you could drink a gallon of this and all you would be is more medium. Remember, it is not a drug. All it does is create an environment in which the organs can be balanced. So if you want to be more medium, want your organs to function without being too much or too little, then you could take more. But we've actually seen that as people get their endocannabinoid system supported or balanced, they don't need as much. And that's nice.
That's very nice. One thing that you had mentioned and you put on there, I had a question about RA. It seems like more and more people are having that type of inflammation show up as RA, as rheumatoid arthritis. Do you know anyone, or do you have any stories or testimonies of people who have been taking this and it's been, I guess, like really not healing, but addressing the inflammation issue for those who have joint pain or RA?
So in my personal practice, no, but I do know of physicians in this company who have taken patients off of medication because of the an unusually effective analgesic aspect of an anti-inflammatory aspect of CBD. And yes, rheumatoid and other autoimmune disorders respond very, very well by decreasing inflammation.
That is wonderful. And we've gone through all the questions and we still have a few more minutes for you. So please go ahead, Doctor.
Okay, so I would like to just note that you've seen some of the slides as I was rolling by. The reason that I became involved, not only because it is an exceptional product, but the place this company is right now is setting to take off. You may be familiar with this slide shown here. This is a growth curve that all companies that are growing go through. And you see on the far left side, formulation. That's when the company is just getting started. They're working out the bugs, they're working out the details, they're working out product formulation, for example. Concentration is when the product is being concentrated in different parts of the country. We're really in that right now. This slide is a little bit dated. I got this from an April presentation. That large arrow pointing down with the Zalise logos should be closer to the 90% line. 90% line is critical mass. Steve has studied network marketing companies. He has led several companies into momentum and into stabilization. He himself, as a network marketer, has had over 250,000 people under him in his company. So he knows what this is about. He knows how to get a company into momentum. He says that our company is nearing momentum and he expects us to enter momentum in the fall based on growth projections as they have been increased. We've been increasing sales every month and breaking sales records every month with this product. Anyone who enters this a business to the left of the 90% line will participate in 90% of the profits to the right of the 90% line. So I can also say that this is like our own personal company. So I have a position in the Zalise company. So my company is in formulation and concentration, and I wanted to be able to build a platform from which to build so that when the company grows, as it is going to in the fall, that we will be able to capitalize on this momentum. So we're seeing this happening, and it is exciting to be a part of. So there are several ways to get started. There are different opportunities to begin the process. The $199 entry point gets you the personal website, the Ambassador cloud-based business site, the training and support that Zalise offers, and access to wholesale pricing. You can do that, and you can actually do that for $99. But if you wanted any product, you could add another $100 and get 2 bottles of Ultracell. And I'll show you the large bottle. It's a 1-month supply bottle, and the smaller bottle that goes along with it. That's the bronze entry. The silver entry for $699 gives you 4 large bottles and 6 smaller bottles, and the $12.99 gold pack starts with 8 large bottles and 12 small bottles, but they also give the 3 booster products as well, and that is easily the best value. So most people who understand network marketing will say that understand that there are different ways you can set up the team, and we have a binary team, which Stephen has worked out all the bugs. It is an excellent compensation plan. He distributes 50% of all income. So that will complete the presentation, David, and I'll give it back to you.
Wow. Turn the PowerPoint off, if you will, Doc.
Okay.
And thank you. Wow.
Thank you.
I learned a whole bunch tonight about
Thank you.
science, and I love science. So
Yeah.
I know there's probably a number of you that have questions and maybe you're interested in the business opportunity or maybe you're interested in the product. And so let me give you a number here you can call. Let me, whoops, that ain't gonna work there. Let me try this here 1 second. There we go. Well, did it disappear? Stop sharing. Well, I'm not sure what happened here. Didn't like that picture. Let me try it one more time. Did it pop up there?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what you have here is Dr. Asher's business phone. You have his cell phone, and then uniquely you have my website address. I became a distributor because I wanted to get all the product I could for as little as possible, and I really do not have time with the ministry to do the business, but I'm in it. So anyone that comes in it, Dr. Asher has agreed to take care of anybody that might come in under me. So if anyone that would come in under me will help me or help the ministry as it would be. But I really don't have time to build a business or work with you in that regard. But Dr. Asher, do you want to add anything more to that?
Well, yes, I do, because I see, David, that the business phone number should be 0110 instead of 0100. It's 0110.
Oh, my apologies. Okay. All righty. Now, anyone that's interested too, feel free to call the ministry office. And I can tell you, Dr. Asher is just an absolutely wonderful person to work with. I think you can tell that yourself tonight here. So again, if you want to know more, write down these numbers again. Again, 744-0110. David?
Yes, thank you.
0110, or the cell 918-261-6187. And Dr. Asher will be delighted to help you.
Yeah.
And again, feel free to call me with any minor questions, but I really can't help you build a business. But you can show this video again. So we'll make that available for you. So good night, everybody. God bless. Raquel, thank you. Let me do this here so I can bring us back here. There we go. So we're going to be back here again next Monday night. And Raquel's going to be here with me, co-hosting again. Raquel, you added so much. Thank you. But next Monday night, we're going to have David Kern again, Sandler Training. And he's going to do a what normally is an 8-hour session, he says, but he's going to present the highlights to us in an hour. on goals, dreams, and visions, and how to make your dreams a reality. So thank you, everybody, for participating tonight. And again, tell your friends, and most importantly, mark your calendar for the first and second Monday of every month right here. And by the way, every one of these meetings, you have to register. We are hoping by the September schedule to have one registration for the whole month. So if you have any questions on Business Breakthrough at all or ministry, just call the ministry office, 800-543-PRAY. That's 7729. And thank you, Raquel. Thank you, Dr. Asher. And everybody, good night. God bless.
Okay.